Hello, this is Devlog number 5 in my series of releasing a game before Christmas. In this devlog, I will be adding a HUD. I will be doing a complete model overhaul, as well as combat animation and a combat refactoring, as well as various quality of life fixes. So continuing on from the last devlog, I wanted to add another health bar, except for the player this time, not the enemies, and so this will obviously appear in the HUD. So I'm just building up the HUD here, as there was no concept of a HUD before I needed to add this health bar. As you can see here, there were some issues with the initial implementation of this, such as the bars just free spinning as the player moves about, and also the bars aren't actually full. So long story short, the bars weren't showing because the green color in the editor had been set to fully transparent, so you could only see the back bar or the wrapper, and the bars were free spinning because it inherited the transform position from the player and the camera, which were obviously moving about as the user interacts. I still need to hook up the mana and the stamina bar. However, this was almost a proof of concept activity, just to hook up the bar with a player stat, and this will also unblock me from implementing combat. So I wanted to create player arms so that I could carry out combat animations. However, as you can see, the AI generated Python scripts for Blender were, as normal, completely underwhelming. Probably embarrassing to admit, but I didn't realize there was an abundance of assets that developers could use for free. And so I found this perfect asset pack, which had a wolf and a fox in a low poly style, which is exactly what I wanted. And this is far better than anything I could do. And all you have to do is provide credit to the original creator of these assets. The same guy who did these assets has also got an abundance of other parallel assets of the same style, some of which you have to pay for, but I'm more than happy to do that so that I never have to touch the Blender scripting tab again. So I started by deleting the old model of the Fox prefab and added the new one in. And then it was just a question of creating a new run or walk animation with the new model. So here is the final result of the new Fox model and his new running animation. And now for the same with the wolf. I'm going to delete the old model of the wolf prefab and replace it with the new model. And then create a new running animation for the wolf. Here you can see the new wolf model implemented with its new running animation. So the player model up to this point had been a terrible humanoid model that the AI had generated. And so I took a parallel asset pack and took one of the human models, and this will become our new player model. And now it's just a case of doing the same treatment and giving it a run animation. This will do for now. However, I did end up freezing the head animation as it was interfering with the camera and clipping through the camera. So I eventually got this working, and now the user can see their hands flailing about as they run, and also look down and see their legs moving as well. It feels more organic when you move. So to implement attack animations, first I would need a weapon. So I took another adjacent map pack for swords and added one into the player prefab and anchored it to his hand. And then when I animate the player, obviously the weapon will move with the hand. Another update I made was a change to the rendering pipeline, where I now use the universal rendering pipeline instead of the default Unity. And this just makes all the colors appear a lot warmer instead of metallic as they were before. And I can show you the difference here. So you can see the before here with the glare off the ground and everything seems harshly bright. And then here is the updated version with the new rendering pipeline, and everything just seems a lot warmer. So I added the new attack animation, which is obviously just a swipe, and whatever weapon in your hand is obviously going to follow that swipe. This took me hours to get working between the animation properties and the animation controller properties, and also the state control for the animation controller. So I finally got this working. It was triggering multiple swipes or getting stuck in a loop before, so I was very happy to see this working. So currently there's a fixed half a second cooldown on each attack to prevent spamming, and so I wanted to create an indicator to reflect this. And so while I was doing this, I threw in a simple crosshair as well, and then I added this new indicator icon to the right of this crosshair. So the way this indicator will work is there's a translucent background image, and then an opaque image will fill this translucent image to indicate when you can attack again. So here you can see everything working. It takes into account the attack range and also the attack cooldown timer. And that's all I've got for this devlog. Next devlog, I'll make the enemies start attacking me, and also get some of the core game loop, such as the day-night cycle and spawning enemies during the night working, and also maybe try to tackle some of the map generation. I've only got 3 weeks here until I've got to push a first build, so I need to get the game loop sorted out, no matter how bad it is. And also shout out to my regular 3 viewers. Apologies it took me so long to get this out, but I've been getting hammered in work, and also Europa Universalis 5 was released. Thanks for watching.